In the last lesson, we created our product model. Now let's go ahead and create our table view cell and XIB, similar to what we did for our category cell XIB file here, okay? So I'm gonna create under view right here. I'm gonna right click, say new file, and this is going to be a Cocoa Touch class. We are going to subclass a UI table view cell, okay, and we are going to call this product cell, and we are also creating a XIB file, and we're going to say next and make sure both targets are checked and say create. Very good. Now I'm going to grab our productcell.xib file. I'm going to drag that up here to our xibs folder, and we can get to work. All right, so let's check out our finished app just to remind ourselves what we want our product cell to look like. Looks like we're going to have a container right here. Then we're going to have inside of our container an image, a rounded image here on the left. We're going to have a name label, a price label, an add to cart button, and then a star favoriting button. All right, so should be pretty fun setting this up, so let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and just stretch this out, maybe about 200 tall and around 400 or 500. Again, it doesn't really matter what it is here, because we are going to be programmatically setting the size, or I should say the table view sets the size depending on the width. We will be setting the height programmatically though. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need is that container view, okay? So I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna search for UI view, and that's just gonna be view, and drag that in here. And what this does is, opening up our simulator again, this allows us to have this kind of card style view, okay? We can't round the corners of the actual table view cell, and so what we do is we inset a content view and then we round those corners, okay? So let's see here. I'm gonna get this view here and I'm going to set constraints. I'm going to uncheck constraint to margins and then set 8 for all 4 sides and say add those 4 constraints. There we go. And then before I forget, let's go ahead and grab our product cell attributes inspector and change the background to a clear color. There we go. All right, so for our container view here, let's go ahead and set its class. I believe we have a rounded, let me see here, in our extensions. Let's see here, or was that in view? Rounded views, we have a rounded shadow view. That's the one we want. So back into our product cell, let's select our container view and set that to rounded shadow view. There we go. And just to kind of help us see where our container view is, I'm going to grab the content view here and I'm going to set a background color to this dark blue. That way we can kind of see better the area that we're going to be working in. All right, next thing I want to do is start adding our UI elements. Let's start with the image. All right, so I'm going to search for image in our object library, drag that in here. It's going to be right over here. And we're going to go ahead and add some constraints. We're going to go 8 from the top, 8 from the left, 8 from the bottom, and then we're going to set an aspect ratio. All right, and we're going to add those 4 constraints. And then we need to actually set the correct aspect ratio. I'm not sure why it doesn't give you the option of setting the specific aspect ratio you want at the time that you set it. But nonetheless, let's go over here to our size inspector, and we want our ratio here. And we're going to edit that, and we want to be 1:1, a 1-to-1 ratio. There we go. Next thing, let's go ahead and add our favorite button. So I'm going to come up here, search for a button, and just drag that right in here, and come to its attributes inspector, delete the button text, and we're going to add an image, and this is going to be the, let's see here. Pretty sure I added that, did I not? Here we go, empty star. There we go. And let's add some constraints here. We're going to say 8 from the top, 8 from the right, and for the width and height, let's set that to 30. And add those 4 constraints. Very nice. Now we need a couple of labels and a button. So I'm going to open up our object library again, search for label. I'm going to hold Option and drag in, then drag in another one, and then I'm going to search for a button and drag that in as well. And then we can close our object library. Perfect, so we have our 3 elements here. I'm going to select all 3 and embed that in a stack view. Then I'm going to select that stack view and let's add some constraints. I'm going to say 20 from the left, 20 from the right, and then I'm going to add those 2 constraints. And then we are going to center it vertically in the container, add 1 constraint, and that should do it. Now for our stack view, our alignment, we want to be center. And our spacing, let's bump that up to 8. For our 2 labels, let's go ahead and set the color to our dark blue, change the font. This is going to be custom. The family is, of course, Futura, and that looks good. So this is going to be our product title. This is going to be our product price. So let's go ahead and just say $99.99. And for our button here, this is going to be our add to cart button. So what we can do is let's change the text to say add to cart. For the text color, let's change it to white. And for the background, let's make it our red color. Very good. Now, one thing that I don't like with iOS buttons is that it doesn't automatically provide any padding. Like, you would never want a button that looks like this. But what we can do is we can come over here to our size inspector and we can add content insets. All right, so let's do a left inset of 10. But one thing that happens is when you add one, then it removes all of the others. So we'll add 10 to the left. Let's try maybe 4 from the top, 4 from the bottom, and 10 from the right. And that looks better. Then we're also going to make this a rounded button like our other ones. So I'm going to select here and add our rounded button class. And then we want our price to be significantly bigger. I'm going to change that to 28. There we go, that looks good. All right, this is looking pretty snazzy. Let's go ahead and just add a image here just so we can kind of see how it's going to look. Let's do, what did we use before? Arial 2. And let's go ahead and say aspect fill. Then we're going to clip to bounds. There we go, and that's looking good. Let's go ahead and set the class here to be a rounded image view. That's a class that we created earlier in this section. And I think that's gonna look really good. Last thing we need to do is remove that blue background here. Let's see here, that's content view. And we're going to change the background back to the default color. Very good. Now let's go ahead and hook up all of our IB outlets to our product cell.swift file. So holding Option and clicking on product cell.swift, we can now go ahead and add those IB outlets. I'm going to go ahead and close our left and right panes to give us some more room. And I'm going to just delete that. And let's go ahead and start with our image here. I'm going to control and drag, and we're going to call this product image. Then we have the product title, control and drag, product title. Then we have the price, control and drag, product price, our add to cart button. I actually don't think we'll need a outlet for that. So let's just go ahead and do an action. So down here, add to cart tapped or clicked. And then for our favorite button here, control and drag and another IB action, and we'll call this favorite clicked and connect. We are going to need an outlet for our favorite button though, so that we can toggle between different images. So when we click on it, it'll change to a separate image. So I'm going to control and drag, and this is going to be favorite button and connect. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and create our configure cell function as well. So I'm going to say func. Let me go ahead and close our assistant editor, open up our left and right panes, and go to our product cell.swift file. And we're going to say func configure cell. And we are going to pass into this a product. So I'm going to say product of type product. That's the model that we just created. And let's say we have our product image, title, and price. So let's do product title.text is equal to the product that we pass into this function. Whoops, that's not it. Product dot name. Then we have the price. So we can say product price dot text is equal to product dot price. And that's going to actually throw an error because that's a double. We'll go ahead and tackle this here in a little bit once we actually have data, because we're going to need to format that into a string and apply some number formatting to that. So we'll take that on here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and do the image though. So I'm going to say we're going to do the same thing that we did with our category cell. So I'm just going to copy that, bring that back over here to the product cell, import Kingfisher, and instead of category image dot image URL, we're going to say product dot image URL, and instead of category image, we are doing product image. And it looks like this should be image URL. There we go. Very good. Like I said, we're going to come back here and flesh this out a little bit more once we have real data that we're working with. But for now, just to get this going and seeing it, this is just fine. All right, I'm going to save our product cell.zib file, and we're going to call this lesson good. In the next lesson, we are going to get everything hooked up in our products VC, add our table view delegate methods, create a sample product instance, and see if we can get it working. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.